Everyone's been flooding my comments and DMs and questions about TikTok Shop. Where should I get an account? How do I actually pick the right products? Should I turn on GMV Max? Why am I not getting back to the commissions that I was at 3-4 months ago? What is happening? Is TikTok Shop dead? I went through over all the top comments, all my last few videos, live streams, and today I'm answering every single top question about what it takes to be an actual successful, consistent TikTok Shop affiliate in 2025. So if you're thinking about getting started, if you're just looking for answers to help you make more money, this is probably the only video that you need to watch. The number one question that I get from everybody, this is probably the most common question that I get, is TikTok Shop dead? And why am I making way less money than I ever was before? And the truth is, what worked last year does not work this year. And I think a lot of people are learning that the hard way. Again, something I talk about, at least on my TikTok all the time, is the concept of the hope and pray method. Getting random samples, posting random videos, and just the whole thought process behind, oh, just post more videos. That is not working this year, and it's very clear that TikTok is trying to prioritize actual quality content, because the reality is, if you look at the distribution of sales among some of these products on TikTok Shop, and again, I'll give you a real example right here. One of my pages, I was the #1 affiliate out of 7,000 people that ever promoted that product in the month of April. And I had 22% of the sales for the entire brand on the month. And this was actual numbers from the brand, not just Kade, so it was accurate numbers. And I myself generated 22% of the revenue. And now keep in mind, that was all organically. I did not give out a single one of my ad codes. I purposely don't. So all of the money is going to the top affiliates. And the problem is, you posting one video for one product isn't going to get you to the top, right? And to take this a step further, again, I have a screenshot of this from the brand. The #1 affiliate, me, was 22%. The #2 affiliate was about 20%. The #3 affiliate was 18%. So if my math isn't absolutely horrible, between all that, it's roughly 60% from 3 people out of 7,000. Now, the question you should be asking in your head is, okay, now how do I get into that top 3, right? So if you're not making the money that you want, you have to have a strategy behind this. For me personally, and everybody that I work with, the whole concept is finding a winning product, analyzing all the data, and consistently doing that. So if you're not doing some form of that, you're gonna get left behind this year because you're competing with more people. So as long as you know what you're doing and you're picking the right products and having a reason behind what you're doing, there's no reason you shouldn't be making even more money. Because if you look at the numbers across the board on TikTok Shop, the overall GMV as a platform is consistently rising, and they project it to even increase by, I think, around 15 to 20% just by next year alone. So there's actually more money up for grabs. The problem is, people aren't having a strategy. You're not having a strategy behind what you're doing, and it worked last year, but it's not working this year. So I really encourage you, if you're not making the money that you want, again, go watch all of my other videos, but at least have some sort of strategy, or learn how to read the data behind what you're doing if you want to get back to where you were, or just consistently make even 10K plus every single month. The #2 question that I get all the time is, should I be using GMV Max? So if you're not familiar, GMV Max is a way that brands can run ads on your videos, right? So the interesting part about GMV Max is it all is just compiled together into one big group. So the brand themselves, they don't even pick what videos are being ran. So TikTok themselves, through their algorithm, decides what videos they should be pushing. So as a result, people have their setting turned on for GMV Max. Now this is going to be controversial, but I always recommend for myself, again, everything that I talk about are real things that I'm doing in real time. I turn off my settings. I don't want GMV Max being ran. And again, I'll give you another real example of why this is happening. So for example, a lot of my products I'm posting for 4 or 5 months in a row every single day. Whereas I've noticed if I give out my GMV Max codes, the longevity of that product does not last for very long. Now, you might make more money in the short term, but the problem is, the way that GMV Max works, it typically will spend really heavy on a couple of videos, and then if it's not the very, very top video, it's going to get pushed to the back burner. So therefore, now your sales are going to die down organically. So it's just this catch-22 where technically you can maybe make more money in the short term, but it's not going to outpace long-term earnings. And for that reason, I recommend everybody, and I do this myself, I turn off the setting where brands can just automatically run GMV Max. But again, this all goes back to your strategy. If your goal is only to make $1,000 a month on TikTok Shop, sure, go ahead, keep your GMV Max on, that's perfectly fine. But if your goal is to make $5,000 every single month, $10,000 every single month, $15,000 every single month, you absolutely need to be doing it organically, because if you're a top 1%, 5% creator with organic content, again, real example here, in April, I was the #1 affiliate. I did it all organically. I beat out people who had paid ads on their videos, just again, proving the point that you should not be relying on GMV Max. Okay, #3 question that I get time and time again, I'm going to cover briefly the 15 video rule. So something I briefly talk about across the board, this is the nutshell of my strategy. Yeah, so you're posting 15 15 videos in a row and you're not switching between other products, because again, your goal is to find a winning product. You're trying to optimize and figure out, okay, can I actually make a bunch of money on this product? So yes, your goal is to post 15 videos in a row. Now there are nuances to that, can be a bit more depending on some factors. I could literally talk about this for 45 minutes, like literally in my program. I think it's about 45-minute long video of me talking about reading analytics and how to make these decisions. So it's something I could talk about forever. But either way, 15 videos in a row, because you need to actually test if it's a winning product. The problem is you make one video on a product, you have no idea why people are buying it. So you need to figure out why people are actually buying it and why it's probably different than what you think is the reason that people are buying it for. And that's the number one issue why posting just random products and doing the hope and pray method likely isn't going to get you to where you want to be on TikTok Shop, especially in 2025. And another really common question that I get is, does niche matter within TikTok Shop? And the answer is, it's nuanced, it matters, but it doesn't. And again, let me give you a real example here. So I just had this conversation on a call with somebody that was working with one-on-one. You can apply to the link in the bio. It's for people who want to take TikTok Shop seriously. So if you can't post every day, if your goal is not to make at least $5,000 minimum every single month, it's not for you. But if you're not making the money that you want to make on TikTok Shop, again, the opportunity is only going to last forever. So if you do want to apply for that down below and get actual one-on-one help to help you scale on TikTok Shop, you can apply for that. I generally only have room for so many people left. But anyways, within that conversation, I gave them a real example here. What matters more is not switching products in complete opposite niches. So for example, you don't want to post one product that's a women's makeup product and the very next product you want to post is a men's ratchet strap, right? They're complete opposite ends of the spectrum. The most important part is that you're posting the same product consistently. Again, this goes back in tandem with the 15 video rule. If you're doing that, this kind of just takes the back burner in terms of the actual niche. And another really common question that I get is, does TikTok have favorites? If you notice, a lot of these questions, again, they're all intertwined together. It's only when you start to answer and figure out some of these other questions are you able to actually put a lot of these puzzle pieces together, because again, everything on TikTok Shop is very intertwined. So again, does TikTok Shop have favorites? I'd almost refer back to the answer that I talked about earlier. The real example for a product that was the #1 affiliate on in April, I had 22% of the GMV. So in a way, yes, TikTok Shop does have favorites, but the name of the game is, how do you get on their favorite side? And I'll give you another real example here. This goes in tandem with another question of, why are my views so low? Well, TikTok is going to start to categorize you, right? Based on how well you're doing. If you're posting really crappy bottom of funnel content, if you're posting really just spammy content in general, maybe your camera's really blurry, or the video is just really that bad. If it's that bad, TikTok is going to start to categorize you, right? And so you need to get on their good side and start to actually push sales. And so that's the catch-22 is, once you actually start to get sales, oftentimes you're proving your worth to TikTok. They're like, oh, okay, this guy, this woman knows what they're doing. We're going to keep pushing traffic to them. So yes, in a way, TikTok Shop does have favorites, but this is actually to your advantage, because if you learn how to be on the positive side of this, you're just going to make more money, right? Whereas everybody else, if they're posting crappy content, they're posting random products, they're not going to get the views that they want, because TikTok is, again, trying to make as much money as they can make. They make money, I believe it's at this point 8% off of every sale. So why would they push your content on their platform if they're not confident they're going to get money off of pushing your content? Because if they're not going to make money, they don't care about you individually, they care about themselves. So when you keep that factor in your mind, yes, TikTok Shop does have favorites, but stop using it as an excuse as to why you're not making money genuinely. The other main question that I get is, should you actually be posting non-shop videos in between your shop videos? There's two trains of thoughts here that I commonly hear, and here's my definitive answer. So some people think that, oh, well, okay, it's going to help you not be seen as much of like, you know, a crappy salesman that nobody wants to hear. Some other people say, okay, well, it's going to mess up the algorithm, right? So the problem is, most people think that on TikTok Shop, especially shop videos, it's being shown to your followers. You got to get that out of your head. There's been so many times where I've had 50+ million views, and if you look at the stats on a lot of your TikTok Shop videos, it's going to be 97, 98, 99% for you page. Very rarely, even when I repeat videos, will people be like, I saw this video already. Like, TikTok algorithm knows more than you. The TikTok algorithm knows more than me. So as a result, they're going to show the content to who they think needs to see it. And so as a result, going back to the question, when you start posting random content in between, even as good as the TikTok algorithm is, I think it has a massive impact on pushing your content to the right people, specifically outside of shop videos. So oftentimes you'll see that your views on shop videos are lower in between when you're posting random videos. Now, again, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that. That's perfectly fine. Just from what I've seen, the data that I've looked at time and time again across, multiple accounts from people that I worked with, when you have random videos in between, it's a lot harder to get that traction on TikTok Shop. And another really common question, and again, I'm I'm honestly shocked that this is still a common question, but I would still answer it regardless. Is there a best time to post on TikTok Shop? So you should only be posting on TikTok Shop at noon, 3 p.m., and 6 p.m. I'm just kidding. That was entirely made up. It does not matter. As long as you have at least an hour in between your TikTok Shop videos, that's really all that matters. I use an hour as a general guideline. Some people spam post it within the same hour. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Again, this is something that you want to keep in mind, but it's like you have bigger things to worry about than figuring out what time of the day should you post. Should you post in a row? Like that stuff really doesn't matter. Hashtags is another one that I get. I've literally never used a single hashtag on any one of my TikTok Shop videos, and thousands of videos in at this point. So drop the hashtags. Time of day doesn't matter. If you see a lot of these simple tips and tricks, like in the nicest way possible, throw most of them out the window. It does not move the needle in terms of what actually matters. So I hope these answers cleared up some of your biggest questions that you can't seem to get answers to anywhere else. Again, remember, success is not just about finding magic products. It's about developing an actual systematic approach to picking the winners, demand testing angles, and actually making the right decisions to put you in the right positions. So if you do want more advanced strategies like these, that's why I've created my one-on-one TikTok Shop mentorship for serious affiliates who actually want to follow a proven system and know what it takes to make consistent 5-figure months, which is what I've done myself, and that's why I've named it the Consistent Creator Formula. So click the link in my bio if you do want to learn more and book a call. Seriously, I genuinely only have so much time in the day. Also, seriously, drop a comment down below with which question was the most helpful for you. I go through every comment, and so I try my best to respond personally. So if you have more, I will do my best to answer them too. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.